Yo, what's good, Crypto Cash Flow family? We are back in the building. So listen, we've been talking about this for quite some time, on these calls, right? Just calling like what Bitcoin is going to do. Now, where we are right now is that we are in a not sticky situation, but we're just dissecting what the market is doing right now. First and foremost, I just want to break down this trade, right? Because I was posting this inside of the group, basically shorted from 75,000 to where we are right now in the market. Did take some profit on that, so I closed out those trades and I'm just waiting for the next opportunity. But how would you have been able to identify that opportunity and actually take that trade? Well, first and foremost, right? This is a weekly time frame, so anything that's happening on a higher time frame is usually going to be a stronger move versus you drawing things out on a lower time frame. Now that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to the lower time frame. It just means it's going to be a stronger move if you're seeing those things happen, right? Just like we're seeing the third trend line get manipulated right here. Now let's go ahead and break this down just a little bit. So first and foremost, we have a lower high right here that we printed from where we are. So naturally, we're just following the trend, right? The trend is your friend. You want to make sure that you're always following the trend. So we have this lower high that got printed, and then we had another lower high got printed, right? Even before this was happening right here, and I'm going to just look at it just like this. Even before this was happening, once this candle closed and didn't break above that region, this was basically your entry point. Because what happened? We saw a price, and I'm going to just delete this and delete this. We saw a price come down here and break these zones. One zone broken, two zones broken, and then it found support down here that I didn't map out. But what happens when you break a support or resistance? It has to be retested so that way we can make sure that this is true support and resistance. So we broke these supports, and now we have to come back up and make sure that these are valid levels in the market where price is now creating resistance that we have to break above. So we have an early indicator right here because we have a lower high, but now we need to make sure. So now that this candle has closed, let's go ahead and play it. I'm going to play it in like 1x speed. Play that in 1x speed. And now we see this candle close right here. And now let's see what's going to happen when this candle closes. If it's going to close bullish or if it's going to close bearish, right? So we ended up closing that candle right there, which then brought us to somewhere around 77,000, which is really where I was starting to look at this because I was like, man, this seems actually like a really viable short that we could be taking. Why? Because we just printed another lower high and we have not broke this zone right here. And now we have broken out of this zone. If I delete this right here, we have now broken out of that zone and region, which tells me that we're more than likely probably going to start targeting this trend line. So that's when I saw this trend line down here was like, interesting. So I went ahead, and I'm going to delete this one real quick. I went ahead and drew out, actually that's not the one I drew out. I drew out this one. So I drew out this one initially, 1, 2, and if you zoom in, it's actually not touching, I think this one. I think it's touching that one. And I was just waiting for the trend line to come in. And then I saw another one, 1, 2, an inner trend line that then gave me my strike zone and region where price could potentially come into. When you have two trend lines intersecting like this is more like the zones that we're looking at right here. It's just an area of interest where price could potentially come into, right? So this is what we're estimating. So I'm going to go ahead and play that on out. And then we ended up seeing price do exactly that. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that back on the chart because I like seeing that. But we saw price come down, right? Nice short action. And now this is where we are in the market. So now we have two different possibilities that we need to be looking at. We have a possibility of one, we have 6 days first and foremost before this candle even closes. So we have 6 days before we know, what this candle is going to be doing. And of course, if you go to lower time frames, you can have somewhat of a indicator as to what's going to happen next. But right now, we're kind of waiting to see if we're going to break back above this trend line and then continue higher, or if we're going to end up breaking below this trend line and holding this region. We're going to have to come up here and retest this trend line, because if a trend line is broken, we're going to have to come up and retest that trend line before going lower. So what I'm looking at right now is this on a higher time frame. We still have some regions down here that we need to take care of. We still have this one big trend line right here, And I think I drew this off of, what did I draw this at? I think I drew this off of this support right here maybe, and then was using something else. I'm not really sure, but I know that as a valid region for sure. I'm just going to have to go down my time frame. So anyways, we have a trend line right here on a longer time frame where it's matching up, honestly, like right to, let's see, somewhere around like $60,000. And if it goes down to the support, we're looking at something like $60,000. If it decides to fill these wicks up halfway, we're looking at something like $59,000. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm never looking at the market in a way of, oh man, the market's going down. That means we don't have opportunities and we need to sell everything and start panicking and da. No, I'm looking at this as like, this is a golden opportunity, right? We want to make sure that we are buying as far away as possible. Let me just delete this off of the chart for now. We want to make sure that we are buying as far away as possible from this all-time high that we just had right here. So, I mean, for me, this is extremely bullish for the market. The market is just coming back and cooling down. I mean, you got to understand, we were just sitting at $126,000, and we're only halfway down, retesting these regions where price was initially breaking out from where we are now, right? And then we still, from where we were initially, like in the market, we were still down here, y'all. Like, this was where the breakout started to happen. Like, you got to understand, this is where we were, right? Where we broke out of this candle right here. And then the market started to move higher. We are still a long ways away from that. So I think the market is just coiling up and just heating up for other opportunities. But as you all know, we are just focused on simply just taking trades. We're not holding assets and riding this down to the downside. We're simply focused on looking at our regions, right? And then just simply playing it zone by zone. Trend line by trend line, market structure by market structure, higher high and lower high by lower high, right? That's what we're focused on. We're simply looking at the data. We're not guessing where this could go, right? Well, we are guessing at it. We're putting probabilities like into our favor. But what I'm saying is that we're not saying, okay, yeah, boom, we're definitely going to this region. No, because I don't know if that's going to happen. It's on the chart, yeah, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So we have to take this level by level right now, right? And where we currently are focused on is really like this region right here and this level. Right? We're really just focused like what's going to happen like inside of this box right now for price to either go up or go down. But it doesn't matter because we can short the market, right? And the market is constantly giving opportunities every single day, right? Like from here to here. If you don't map this out on the chart, you're going to look at, okay, well, that's not that big of a move. It only went from 93,000 to 70-something thousand, which is actually a pretty big freaking move. But if you look at that percentage, right, that says 24%. That's $2,400 that you would have earned on a $10,000 portfolio if you had taken that trade. Same thing from here. It doesn't look that big, but guess what? That's $1,200 that you would have earned if you took that trade. Same thing over here. If you would have took this trade, 24%. Same thing with this. If you would have took this trade, you're looking at 13%. That's close to like $4,000 for you drawing lines on a chart. Now, I'm making it sound easy. Of course, you're going to have losses, right? But that's why we say only take 1% risk on your portfolio on any trade. Because anything above this, and you can stretch it out to 1 or 3%, right? Once you start getting a little bit better, but 1% risk. Because everybody wants to be greedy in these markets. Everybody just wants to make money. And that's something I'm really working on detaching myself from also. Stop focusing on the money itself, right? And that's something that you're going to have to work on daily. Because as you are trading, you are fighting your own subconscious mind, you're fighting your conscious mind, and you're fighting who you are at the end of the day. So you're going to be fighting against yourself like, man, I want to take a bigger risk. I feel good about this trade. But once you take that bigger risk, not saying it's not going to work out in your favor, but let's say you did like 5-10x leverage and then you take a loss. How are you going to feel on the inside emotionally and psychologically? Because those small things can disrupt your whole trading flow for not just days or weeks at a time, months, years at a time. Those are things, if you take like $1,000 loss, for example, that will make you feel bad and not want to trade again, knowing that you are playing a game of probability. So this is why we say, even if you had big amounts, right? $10,000, $20,000, even $5,000, right? You'd be taking like a $50, $100, $200 risk on your portfolio with 1%. So let's say that you lost like 3 trades in a row on $10,000. Okay, you lost $300. Okay, cool. Well, what we're going to do is keep taking trades and make sure that our next trade is going to make up that $300 plus some. That's the goal, not to just make our money back, but to also be making more than we have made in the market, right? And then that puts us in a position of building our portfolios and then being able to take better trades. So I didn't mean to make this so long-winded, but I wanted to just draw this out for you all so you all could see where we are first and foremost, like in the market. See just how powerful it is when you are taking trades in the market, and just to update you all where we are. So I've seen a lot of you also just taking different trades too outside of like Bitcoin itself. Like I love that. Like this is a skill that can be applied like universally across the board to anything that you want it to, right? It could be virtual, it could be near, it could be Ondo, some of the coins that I've seen you all trading. It could be Solana, whatever the case may be, right? It could be XLM, it could be Algo. You can apply this across the board. I've seen some of you all trading HBAR as well. I thought that was really cool. I even mapped out virtual myself, like on the chart. You see how easy this is? Like it's coming in, clear rejection, came down, it's trying to hold, it's coming up, trying to push again, and it's not able to catch those regions, and now we're just trending down. Same situation here. 6 days until this closes, but we're either going to close here and then move higher and try to take out these regions, or one, we're going to close below this trend line because we have some more resetting to do, and then we're just going to move on down to the next region, right? So we're just playing this zone by zone. We're not holding assets right now. If you are holding assets, make sure that you're just doing it in a wise way and you're holding things that, you believe in, because I do believe the market is going to eventually tick up and go parabolic again. I just think that this cycle has just been insanely depressive, insanely dark, and just ruining people's morale, thinking that these things aren't going to happen again. But if history is going to repeat itself, more than likely these things are going to happen again. It's just taken a very long time to get there. We're going to have those euphoric moments again. We're going to have euphoria in the market. That is just the way the system and the beast is set up. It's all manipulated. So right now they're manipulating people like crazy. Like how long have we been sitting down here in these regions and haven't touched these all-time highs? It's been quite some time, right? Almost a year. I mean, almost a whole year, like going until later this year. A lot of people don't have that goal inside of them to weather that storm and to stay in this market and to stay studying and to stay diligent and to stay doing the things that are required to get to where you need to be. Right? Sometimes you got to swallow your pride, you got to swallow your ego, and you got to do what's required for you at the end of the day, because nobody's waking up to you. Nobody's going to sleep with your bills. No one's going to sleep or waking up to your responsibilities. You have to take care of you. That is one thing that I've learned. You have to take care of you. Nobody is going to go get your dreams, and nobody's going to go get your goals for you. No one's going to make money for you. No one's going to learn this for you. You have to do it. This is a you versus you game at the end of the day. So go look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you doing what's required? Are you doing what you need to do in order to get to where you need to be? And if you aren't, then double down. I heard someone say today, and I had this written on my board, that this is the month of non-negotiables. Do what's required. Put the work in, experiment, and test, because you don't know what's going to work. You don't know what's going to take you to that next level until you step into the water. And I'm not talking about dabbling your toes or anything like that. I'm talking about really diving into the water. No scuba gear, just a deep dive, and then just being in that blue ocean of opportunity and discovering the person that you can become. But anyways, I got a little deeper than it needed to be, y'all. This is where we are currently, like in the market. So right now we're just waiting to see what this candle does. And if you haven't already, make sure that you're going through the classroom, y'all. Come over to the community, go to the classroom, start going through the trading section, and start figuring this thing out. If you don't have this right here, we literally made this as affordable as we possibly could, where this training is literally going to pay you dividends time and time again. The training literally pays for itself. I mean, look at the testimonials that we have. This is only 2 right here, but we literally have a whole wall of testimonials and people that are constantly shouting out crypto cash flow and helping, and where we're helping you position yourself to be a better trader, to create an evergreen skill that's going to take you to where you need to go. So yeah, anyways, we love you all, and we'll see you all in the next one, y'all. Peace.